Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Sarah. I'm with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation, and today we are joined by Justin Lehman with the Pennsylvania Department of Health, and we are going to talk about the importance of physical activity. Cue the Olivia Newton-John. Just kidding, we don't have the budget for that. So, welcome, Justin. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I just want to remind our viewers out there that if you have a question for Justin during the presentation, please leave it in the comments and we'll address them at the end. So without any further ado, Justin, would you mind taking it away?
Sure. Thank you, Sarah, for the opportunity to share today, and good afternoon to everyone. And I believe you can hear me okay. And the screen, are you able to see my screen as well?
Here we go. Yes, you can see it now.
Okay, great. So, like Sarah said, my name is Justin Lehman, and I work for the Pennsylvania Department of Health, specifically within the Division of Nutrition and Physical Activity. And my specific work that I focus on is related to physical activity. And so I'll be sharing some of the benefits of physical activity. And you kind of see the title here about how doing something now helps later. And I do want to just confirm that you can see the slides in normal presentation view.
Yes, I can see them now. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to jump right into it on physical activity and give you some information on that, some Pennsylvania statistics, and what the Department of Health is doing. So ultimately, what is physical activity? It's just any movement that the body expends energy. So you see a list of different activities. Most of these are actually even indoor type of activities. As we think about winters in Pennsylvania, it's not always the easiest to get outside. We may not be really interested in being out when it's super cold or snowing or raining or any windy, or we may not have a safe place to get outside and walk. So we have to think of creative ways to get to be active indoors. And I'm going to be sharing some of those ways in a little bit. So if exercise could be packed in a pill, it would be the single most widely prescribed and beneficial medicine in the nation. So when we think about this, if someone were able to pack in and say, if you were able to have these benefits, I think all of us would sign up and say, yes, I want to take that pill. And we have that opportunity, and it is in the way of engaging in exercise and physical activity. And I will also mention that it is also nutrition as well, and kind of what we eat. But all that to say that I think sometimes we get caught up in the nuances of what it actually looks like instead of just getting out and doing something. And that is going to be one of the most important takeaways for today, is that something is better than nothing. So with that being said, why should we be physically active? So we see here a few different chronic diseases listed: heart disease, diabetes, several cancers, and hypertension. So just to give you an idea, chronic diseases are defined broadly as conditions that last 1 or more years and requires ongoing medical attention, or they limit activities of daily living, or possibly both. So we have these here, and these are some of the leading causes of death and disability in the United States. And we understand that a lot of these chronic diseases come from a few different factors. So they would come from tobacco use, poor nutrition, lack of physical activity, and possibly excessive alcohol use. So those 4 main risk factors are what will then lead into these type of lead into us developing and having these chronic diseases. So, with that being said, what are the national guidelines that are out there for us to be active? So, at the end of the day, it is to move more and sit less. So, the having less sitting, less sedentary behavior will lead to a healthier body and a decrease of those chronic diseases, heart disease, high blood pressure, and those type of things. So for Pennsylvania adults, for adults, US adults, they are encouraged to get 150 minutes of activity each week. And that can come in a variety of ways. There's a few pictures here that might be some good ideas. Just getting out and walking is the simplest and easiest form of activity for us, but perhaps you have access to a YMCA or other civic center where you can go swimming. Biking in Pennsylvania during wintertime is not always the easiest, but we do have those random nice days that you might be able to take advantage of, but just trying to find ways to increase your heartbeat, as well as looking for muscle strengthening activities. Maybe that includes weights, maybe it includes just doing using your body as resistance, but doing that 2 days a week is also extremely helpful. So this map is a map produced by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And as you can see, it is populating the self-reported obesity among US adults by state. And you can tell that as states go from blue to like a brown to a darker orange to a deep red, this is where Pennsylvania, or where the United States was 10 years ago. So you can tell that 12 states had an adult obesity rate above 30% in 2010. So the next map that I'm going to show you covers 2011 to 2019. And you will see that that is continuing to increase. In fact, so much that they actually added a new number of above 35%. And you will see that that number is continuing to grow. So here, starting in 2011, and then each year, the dark red states are at 35%. And obviously, we'll want to keep our eye on Pennsylvania as well. But this just gives you a good idea of what the United States looks like when it comes to self-reported obesity among adults. And it's on replay. So I froze the 2019 map to give you an idea of what it looks like. And you can see roughly a dozen or so states have adult obesity rates above 35%. So that's more than 1 in 3 adults is obese. And then the majority of the rest of the country is at least 30%. So now I want to hone in on Pennsylvania, since that's where we're located, and just share some data related to where Pennsylvania is at. So again, here we're looking at 2011, 2013, 2015, 2017, and 2019. And hopefully you can see that the trend in Pennsylvania is slightly higher every 2 years than the national average. And in 2011, roughly 28.6% of adults were obese. And in 2019, that number was up to 33.2%, or 1 in 3 Pennsylvania adults. And again, you can tell that each year, or over the 2-year period, that number has either remained steady or increased. At no point have we had a decrease in those numbers. And another slide I wanted to show was, okay, so we know about the obesity rates. What about those that report not participating in any physical activity over the past month? Well, when we look at that same time period, 2011 through 2019, we can see that if you look at the average over that period, 1 in 4 Pennsylvania adults reports participating in no physical activity in the past month. And to put this in context, I thought it would be valuable to share what the actual question is. So the question reads, during the past month, other than your regular job, did you participate in any physical activities or exercises such as running, calisthenics, golf, gardening, or walking for exercise? So we think about that, and maybe during the summertime we are gardening or at least getting out for fairly regular walks. But according to this data, 1 in 4 Pennsylvania adults is not engaging in any physical activity outside of just going to and from their normal work. And so, one of the things that I am trying to do within my current position is to find ways to encourage people to be active and to work with communities to be better designed to allow for people to walk, to bike, to roll, to use transit, to get from place to place, as opposed to having to get in their car and travel from point A to point B, especially when those points are very close. Like when we think about going to the grocery store or the library or a school or a YMCA or other civic center or a local park, more times than not, we are getting in our car and traveling there as opposed to having a safe, easy, accessible, convenient way to get there. So this is pretty much where we're at. It's just kind of a cute meme, but at the same time, it kind of does just put it out there. What would you prefer? Exercising 1 hour a day or being dead for 24 hours a day? So with that being said, I wanted to share a few physical activity ideas, and these are specifically indoor related. So if you've never heard of this term before, instead of exercises, the word is Deskercises. And that is when you try and do exercises at your desk. Now, I know that most of us are probably working from home, so our desk may now become our dining room table or kitchen table. It may be like bedposts in our bedroom, or our bed, or just a random table that we have set up somewhere in our basement. So I understand right now our desks may look a lot different. However, with that being said, these are some general ideas of exercises that you could do just utilizing your chair and or your desk to at least help with movement of your body, so that instead of just sitting for 1-2 hours without getting up at all, which I will admit I am guilty of from time to time, of just sitting and not moving at all. But these are great ideas to consider just doing some simple stretches. Maybe it's just every 15 minutes, every half hour, just standing up, doing a few of these stretches. So here are some ideas, and then some other ideas for some Deskercises that do not require you to actually use a chair or a desk, but just doing simple exercises. So maybe while you're on a call, you've had a good call with somebody, and so you want to do the raise the roof. Maybe your conversation is not going quite as planned, and probably not the best idea on a video call, but if it is just a voice call, maybe you want to just punch it out a little bit. And again, it's just simple body movement to exercise and get your blood flowing. And then there's another idea of just doing some leg stretches, just kind of moving back and forth a little bit. So those are just some general ideas of things that we can be doing throughout our workday, as opposed to kind of sometimes when we think about exercising, we think about how we have to dedicate a lot of time. We have to go to the gym. We have to get outside and walk or run for a half hour or an hour. And really, we just want to find ways at this point to be active, even if it's just for a minute or two at our desks or wherever we're working from. Some other general ideas would be consider turning to Pinterest and seeing what they have available when it comes to ideas for working out. And they have some great posters or charts related to taking breaks while watching TV at night, which is something that I think we probably do more of than what we would like to admit, maybe sometimes especially during the winter time. And obviously we are in the middle of a pandemic, so we may not feel comfortable getting outside, so we're staying inside more. So again, just looking for general ideas and of exercises that we can participate in. And maybe it's just taking advantage of commercial breaks when we're watching TV. Every time there's commercial breaks, we get up and do several stretches, several exercises, instead of just sitting for a long period of time. And then again, just to kind of wrap up the physical activity ideas, here are just some other general ideas of maybe just doing some certain stretches to, again, stretch your body a little bit and get your blood flowing. And ultimately, what it comes down to is a few simple physical activity tips of finding your support system. So who are those that maybe at this point you're not able to work out with, but maybe text or call or find another way for them to kind of check up with you and kind of say, hey, were you able to find some exercises to do today, or were you able to get out for a walk? But just those people that will maybe keep you accountable or encourage you. Just being willing to mix it up and not feeling like you need to do the same thing every day. So taking advantage of the different Deskercises, or maybe turning to other platforms, whether it's music, YouTube, or whatnot, to engage in different types of activity. Just be ready anytime, instead of being like, okay, I need to go to the gym or I need to do this for a half hour or an hour every day. Instead, maybe it's just incorporating 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And all of a sudden, even if you've just done 5 minutes 3 times during your workday, you've already done 15 minutes of the recommended 30 minutes that you're to do 5 times a week. And then you just go out for a walk after work and you've engaged in your 30 minutes of activity. So just trying to find things like that, to be creative and not thinking that it has to be at a set time. And enjoy the outdoors. Again, I understand that we are in the midst of a pandemic, and that may not work for you depending where you're at. You may not be able to socially distance yourself from others, and we do need to be careful of that. But there are places that you may find close to home that you can go to where there are not other people around, where you can get outside and be active in that way. And lastly, just trying to find ways to reward yourself. Now, one thing is, to me, when I think of a reward, I usually think of a food reward, but maybe that's not the best reward. Maybe instead it would be thinking about buying yourself a new pair of shoes, running shoes, whatever that would be, or a new pair of athletic pants or shorts or a new top. But something like that you actually feel good when you put on or when you wear, or having those nice comfortable shoes makes it a lot easier to walk as opposed to getting out and walking, coming back and having sore feet. So just thinking through things like that. And so I wanted to specifically share kind of some of the work that I am involved with when it comes to encouraging people to be physically active. So the specific program that I oversee is called WalkWorks. And you can see here, it's a collaboration between the Department of Health and the University of Pittsburgh Graduate School of Public Health. And really, this is designed to establish activity-friendly walking routes that connect to everyday destinations. And I had mentioned those destinations, a few of those destinations, several minutes ago. It could be a local park, maybe a trail that's nearby, a school, a grocery store, library, another civic center, whatever is kind of the key hub place within your community is valuable. And trying to find ways for people to get to those destinations safely, specifically when we think about doing that actively. So walking, biking, riding, using public transit if that's available in your area. So those are just some simple things to consider, or that WalkWorks is doing. And so the specific components of WalkWorks is we work with communities to develop transportation plans with an emphasis on walking and biking, develop policies such as complete street policies and or Vision Zero policies to enhance places for physical activity. And a complete street policy, generally speaking, is when all modes of transportation are considered and facilities are available or amenities are available for them. So maybe it's a sidewalk, maybe it's a slower road, so it's just a wide shoulder, maybe it's lighting, benches nearby, trees. So we think about tree cover, treescape, especially during the summertime when it's hot out. Having that additional shade coverage is crucial. So those could be some of the things that should be considered. And then lastly, identifies, plans, and develops community-based walking routes through what we call a WalkWorks affiliate program, where we work with, through a competitive application, we select communities to develop a minimum of one walking route in their community with already existing sidewalk or wide shoulder infrastructure. So one of the key components of WalkWorks is communities selected through a competitive application to develop one of these plans or policies is they develop and set up a stakeholder group. And this is a list of some of the sectors, some of the key components of the community that should be represented within that stakeholder group. So some of these you may feel like, wow, that makes a lot of sense, but other ones maybe not so much. Maybe you hadn't really considered that, either your Parks and Rec department or your economic development, but those are really the some of the key factors that help a community thrive. So these stakeholder groups meet usually on a monthly basis for usually about 6 months, and they are the ones that help inform of what they want to see in the community. We don't want this to be a consultant coming in and saying, hey, we've done this before, we know what this plan is to look like, this is what we're going to do. We want them to take the input of the community, so through the stakeholder group, as well as community engagement through surveys and other platforms, to find out what is it that communities want and where do they want it, where do they want to be connected to, and how do they want to be able to get there. And then the consultant would be, or the entity that is developing the plan would be responsible for writing that into a plan. Obviously, they would not be responsible for the funding of it, but they are responsible for the development of what that plan or policy would look like. So again, this is a collaborative effort, and not just one or two entities that are trying to develop this for a municipality or a borough or township or town or whatever that may be, up to and including a county. So again, these are key sectors that should be involved when it comes to the development of the plan or policy. And I know the legend at the bottom of this map is maybe a little bit difficult to read, but this map shows the location of all the WalkWorks walking routes and communities that have developed or adopted active transportation plans or similar policies. So again, maybe a little bit difficult to see, but the red dots are where the walking routes are located. And to date, I believe we have 101 walking routes throughout Pennsylvania. And then the diamond shapes, so you see different colored diamonds, black, purple, green, and orange. Those represent the communities that were selected and have received funding through our WalkWorks program and have developed an active transportation plan or a complete street policy or a Vision Zero policy. And again, you can see where those are located. And on our website, which is pawalkworks.com, we do have this map available, and it is an interactive map. So you can actually zoom in and see all the way down to a street level view of where the walking route is located or the area impacted by the active transportation plan. So we're hopeful it is a useful tool for communities to see, as well as we have links to the plans that have been adopted. So you can actually go in, and if you see your community or a neighboring county and you want to view what that plan looks like, you can go in and access it and see exactly what that plan spells out. You can see kind of what types of connections they are looking to make. And I wanted to wrap up here with just some next steps of things to consider. So WalkWorks anticipates releasing its next competitive funding opportunity announcement. This is for the development and adoption of an active transportation plan. So that would, we're hopeful that will be in spring 2021. So one of the things to do is to share with your networks about this funding opportunity. Maybe you're interested in your community developing something and you're not sure what to do. Maybe it's beginning to have a conversation with your local government officials. Maybe it's going to the next board meeting, and a lot of times these board meetings happen monthly. So going to a meeting and asking your community, have you considered active transportation? It's valuable to me. I feel like these are some reasons why it should be valuable and important and a focus of yours as well. So you can kind of share some information related to that. But really it's to begin the dialogue. Maybe it's something that communities have not considered before. However, we are seeing that during the pandemic, having access to places to get out and be physically active are more important than ever. And being able to do that safely and conveniently and easy is a really important thing. And we've seen, you can probably think of communities that you've read about or heard about that have done what we call street closures, where they maybe close down a street for a day or maybe every weekend, or maybe even for a longer period of time. They close the street to cars and allowed restaurants to set up tables, had increased the width of sidewalks, maybe provided a bike lane for people to bike through the community. But that is something that is extremely important for people, is when they are getting outside, to be able to socially distant in that way. So just some additional considerations is maybe your community, your municipality works well with another local municipality, or another municipality has amenities that you really value. Maybe they have a lot of different restaurants that, when the time comes and we're able to get out and be able to visit them again, you be able to walk to them. Maybe there's parks or trails in another neighboring area that you would want to visit, and you would want to do that safely. So maybe it's several communities working together. And then it's never too early to not only identify representatives, but begin those conversations. So one thing I'm thinking of is local government officials, in making them aware of the importance of active transportation, but also seeing what their relationships are like with some of the sectors that were mentioned earlier when it comes to health, education, planning, parks and rec. Do they have conversations with those individuals? Do they know even who those individuals are? If not, maybe now's the time to begin to develop those relationships, so that when the application does come out in the spring of 2021, the community can work together to submit a more holistic type of application. And again, I just wanted to share the WalkWorks website, where you can go and receive information about the WalkWorks program. There are some resources available, some webinars available if you are interested in active transportation, where you can learn a little bit more about certain components of that. And with that, that includes everything that I have. So again, this is just my contact information. And thank you very much for the opportunity. And at this point, I will turn it over to Sarah.
Thank you so much, Justin. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, the biggest takeaway is, like, it doesn't have to be this whole ta-da, this whole to-do, just about getting up and moving your body. Yeah, I love that. Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to I guess add on to that, yes, it is not, you do not need to get out and just think that you need to get out and run a 5K or participate in a 5K. While some people love that concept or idea, I personally do not. I would just rather be able to get out and just engage in a nice walk in my neighborhood, or trying to find other ways to be active. And it really, at the end of the day, it's what suits you, what fits your personality, when it comes to trying to find something that you enjoy, instead of you trying to just kind of begrudgingly go through it. But find something that you enjoy and even love, where it doesn't seem like it's torture or anything like that, but get out and enjoy it.
Absolutely. I like thinking the concept that it's celebrating what your body could do, not like punishing it or trying to change it, so that's a good mentality. Awesome, Justin. Well, thank you so much again for all that great information and for sharing with us about WalkWorks. That sounds like a wonderful program, and we'll look forward to spring 2021. Hopefully it's up and running.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Cool. Take care, Justin.
All right. Thank you.